Okay, so I'm interviewing you for a podcast named 542 Humans. First, can you introduce yourself, like your name and stuff like this?
Mhm. I guess my nickname now is Jan. I went by Burb before, so I was like my online nickname was Burb, but yeah, now it's Jan. I'm 27, pretty much working right now. Stopped academic pursuit for work, and then I'm learning to become a monk. That's basically my current, how do you say it, direction in life. Yeah, and the rest are like hobbies and interests. That's what I'm about.
And so, what are you working in?
I chose basically because I don't have a. I dropped out of high school, right? I mean, I did it until the last exam, and then I didn't do the last exam, right? It's called matura here. Here, it's like matura. It's like a final exam, and I didn't do that, and then so I don't have a degree, right, or a high
Mm-hmm.
school diploma. So I
Yeah.
have a primary school, and then I was like, what should I work? And basically, I am always thinking a lot about values and like what do I want to work in, because I did a lot of how's it called, student jobs, and it was a lot of exploitation and just working long hours on minimal pay, and I have a lot of negative experiences with it, and like questionable bosses and all that. So then I was just thinking like, what should I do, which is like super reliable, so like a government job, not like a private person, and also has to be close to my values, right? Because I don't really value money that high. Like,
Mm-hmm.
sure, we need money, but uh, it's just money. Like, it doesn't have any higher purpose other than like eating and shelter.
Yeah.
So I chose home care assistance because it's like I can make other people's days better, and but not that as like a focus of the job, but more of a like making a difference. In my prior jobs, it was like profit for the company. That was the difference. Yeah.
So it's healthcare, like you're a nurse or something like this?
Yeah, pretty much. Like
Okay.
I cannot do the medical procedures, but everything else I can do.
Okay.
Like I cannot administer injections, but I can do everything else.
All right. And
Yeah.
so where are you from, if you want to share?
Yeah, sure. I'm from Slovenia. It's in Ljubljana. It's the capital city of Slovenia. It's above Italy in Central Europe.
Oh yeah, I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you're living on in your own place and alone,
Uh,
or
li- no, no. I'm living with my dad, but it's like a big apartment, so I just have my own part, like my own room and everything. But we have a shared kitchen. Yeah.
okay?
So I cook for
Yeah.
myself,
Hmm.
but in his kitchen basically. I'm like a roommate with my dad. It's that situation. But I'm very lucky because I don't have to pay rent.
So
Yeah.
it's only your dad. Your mother is not. So your parents are separated, or
Yeah, yeah, separated. Yeah.
all right,
My mom lives in the same city, but she's in the another part of town, which
all
I
right.
used to live before.
And do you have sisters and brothers?
Yeah, one sister, but she's studying in Italy. She is in how is it called? Um, a big tourist town on like on the water. What's it called?
Venice.
Yeah, 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 Venice. Yeah,
And she's older or
uh,
younger?
2 years older. Yeah,
Okay,
I'm the younger
all right.
sibling.
How do you feel right now? I'm,
Hmm,
I'm gonna be
that's a
straight
good question.
with the questions, just as
Yeah,
a.
yeah, that's fine. That works for me. A bit anxious. Yeah, because I was it was interesting. I was like observing myself leading up to the chat, right, or the interview, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, I'm like surprisingly nervous for this. And it was interesting for me because I'm rarely this nervous for anything. But I
That's
think it was like, I don't know, not quite sure what it is, but I'm just enjoying it. So yeah, thank you for the opportunity.
yeah. it's like an experiment to get out of your comfort zone, I guess.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not that uncomfortable for me, but it's
Mhm.
just like the anxiety from the I don't know what, like it's so weird, just the talking about these things. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's more of a like not knowing what the questions are or something. But
Yeah,
I'm open to talking about anything.
I can imagine.
It's just this control feeling.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be fine. Like there is nothing really you can say that is so bad,
TOS.
so bad. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I know, I know, I know. No
So
worries.
there is something I like to talk about is what are you most worried about in general? Like,
Mm,
what is like your main worry?
yeah, yeah. In general, so you mean like in life as like a existentialist, like from an existentialist perspective, or like just like how zoomed out are you talking about? How
Mm,
general?
maybe both.
Like in oh
Yeah.
okay, yeah, because as my main worry from like a zoomed out perspective, I would say it used to be meaning and purpose. Like why am I even existing? That was my not quite nihilist perspective, but it was like just having a purpose to do things, like having a drive to do something, not just to do them and that being the drive. Because sure, I can make other people's days better, and that can be a reason to exist, but it's not a fundamental reason. It's just a consequential reason, like you know, it's a cope. So yeah, that was my main worry basically before. I'm not sure if it's still. It's definitely less now, because I've began cultivating like acceptance towards it and just seeing the world as it is, and less like trying to conform it to my will. So yeah, that was my main worry basically. I wouldn't even classify it as a worry anymore, because that would make it that would give it like gravitas, or how do you call it?
So it's
Weight, yeah.
so it's like thinking
So it's
about
just
why are you here and what
yeah,
what are you doing?
pretty much. And a lot of times I felt like very weird. Like why do I even have to think about this? Why can't I just have a just want to be rich and want to have a girlfriend or boyfriend, and want to have a relationship, want to have a family, want to have a house, a car. Why can't I just do that and be happy? Some people are super happy. Like okay, not from like a Buddhist perspective happy, but from like a everyday person happy. Like sure, they have everything they want. They're just happy. They're just like hedonically, happy, like hedonic happiness. So
So
they are not suffering.
what would be your answer so
So
far about why are you here and this kind of
yeah,
question?
that's a good question. I mean, wait, let me just first like that was the most zoomed out worry. But for now, the main worry for me is just control. Just having the control. So that was like that's basically a fear of death. So that's my more concrete worry. But yeah, um, sorry, what did you ask after?
Um, so you're asking yourself why are you here and what are you doing here, I guess.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
so what's if you have any idea
Answering it.
about it, about answering it.
Yeah, yeah. Because to answer this question, I basically went uh, pretty much everywhere. I mean, there was some things I didn't do, like the um, like I don't know, astral projection or something. I didn't do these things,
Hmm.
like super woo-y things. But I did, philosophy, biology, uh, um, like biohacking, optimizing body, mental health, physical health, environment, hormones, everything, like optimizing everything. So to have like a good foundation to like figure out, just putting myself in a on a good basis to think myself out of this hole, right? Because I did like depression basically. So I was putting basically my all my life is just a cope to get myself out of the hole, and this hole was just like you know well, not like why am I here, but just a lack of drive, a lack of desire. Everyone asked me, "What do I want to be when I grow up?" And I was just like, "I don't know. How can I know something in the future?" and other kids would say like, oh, I want to be this, and like so much drive and passion and like curiosity and everything. Of course I had curiosity, but for me curiosity was just an escape, you know. It was not like, yeah, it was an escape, like a cognitive, like masturbation or something. I was just escaping from something else into thinking and into abstract concepts. So it was never, that was like always a problem. So I had very, very big problems with socializing and making friends, you know, because I was like, why do you care about this random famous person? Or why do you care about clothes so much? Why do you care about money so much? Why are you so mean to others? Why are you, you know, I was questioning these things, and I didn't want to be friends with people who were operating from this like autopilot, you know, just like, or being angry, like, why are you angry? It's, everything is fine, you know. And they would like, or they would hit me, and I would question, you know, just things like this. And I didn't like, I even said like, I don't like kids, you know, because kids are mean, but I was also a kid, so it's super weird.
So
Yeah,
I have many questions about
like
many.
an alien.
But first, I want to understand what solutions did you find?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is the fun part, right? So after everything, like I tried everything. I went into philosophy, biology, psychology. I read so many books. Like I just read the whole library basically. Uh, and I read basically all my life. I was just reading in my room. Just, you know, my mom would like try to force me into bed because I would be with my covers up and with a flashlight, just reading under the covers, just scared for her to find me. And yeah, so my answer to everything was like, so basically, I wanted to reach the answers by abstract concepts, right? So okay, what like I say this. So in psychology or philosophy, there's like frameworks, right? So let's take an example of uh, cognitive behavioral therapy, right? CBT. So you can use it as a tool to like optimize your thinking, right? Or let's say stoicism is a better example. Stoic philosophy, right? You can take that and apply it onto your logic, like adopt it onto your thinking, and it helps you as a cope, right? So you can use that to think to like optimize yourself. So I used all of these concepts, like all of these tools, all of these frameworks, like structures, concept, abstract concepts, whatever I could find as like copes and tools, right? But I was still unhappy. I was still suffering. I was still, you know, nothing changed really. So I was like, how can I know so much about these things? Like I read so many books, you know, I have so much knowledge on these things and how things should be. And why am I unhappy? Why am I thinking this? Why this is happening? But it was not resonating with me. It didn't like change me, you know. So then I was basically at my wit's end because I was very depressed, you know. Trigger warning, I guess. And I was like suicidal and very like basically just didn't see a reason to keep going because I used so much energy in my daily life to just to, you know, do basic shit. So then I just went to a center here, which is like a mental health center, which is a very chill institution. It's like a it's like a hospital, but not like a super guarded place. You know, it's just a very chill hospital for just mental health and teens and young adults. So I went there, and I was basically like, yeah, oh, my personal doctor basically told me to go there. She gave me the paper that says like urgent, go here, you know, because I was like very suicidal, and she saw that. So she said like you should go here, and I went there and talked to this guy who is like the head of the department there, who is also my current psychiatrist. Psycho, he's like a medical doctor in therapy. So yeah,
Psychiatric.
it's yeah, that, yeah, not a therapist but a psychiatrist.
Yeah.
So he basically diagnosed me. I was there for 10 weeks, and he put like some answers in, like you know, the diagnosis helped me. It was a schizotypal personality disorder and OCD. You know, these things helped me to like put some, you know, answers onto my childhood and ADHD and all that. Because before I was just like feeling like an alien, you know. But then he was like, yeah, this happened because of this, this personality disorder affects this and this, OCD is this and this, intrusive thoughts this and this. He was just like kind of making sense of like I had all of these puzzle pieces, and he was like helping me put them into like a picture. So I basically like put myself together there a lot in those 10 weeks. Just worked on the foundation, like getting close to my emotions, attuning to my feelings, things like this, really exploring myself. So it helped me a lot.
So it's still very abstract things. Did your job is your job helping you somehow? Like any concrete things,
For my job?
Yeah, or like nothing Is there anything practical helping you? Meditation?
Oh, so all of the things I mentioned, basically, it made me get into spirituality and meditation, because my psychiatrist, basically the therapist there, the head of the department, mentioned that this is a very good way to to do things, and that basically led me to the path which I'm now on, which is a fundamental feeling of purpose and meaning, which is from Buddhism, right? Not like a concept as like an optimistic nihilism, or just a fundamental feeling inside me that there's a purpose, not just using a cope as a purpose. So yeah, I think it's a bit different. So it's not something external for me, which I take upon myself, but it's like coming from me. I'm just exploring the meaning inside me and then attuning to it, which I used to do the opposite before. So yeah, I wanted to finish up with that, because you asked what was my answer now. It's basically this, meditation and finding these things within you, not relying on others not relying on other things to, like, to get them for you, but finding it in yourself, not through knowledge, but through wisdom. Yeah. Knowledge is just like reading about something, and wisdom is about meditating and finding it in yourself. Anyway.
So, and so when like what age? I don't know how to say this, but like when did depression came? Like how long have you been depressed, and
Oof.
when did it
Since I was
start?
12.
12. Okay.
Yeah, I was 12. Yeah, because since I was born to 12, everything was fine, right? I had good grades, everything went fine. I didn't really have any behavioral issues, like a good relationship with everyone, happy, everything like that, right? But then something happened in my life, which is like trigger warning now, I guess. Sexual assault, just from a person which was a 2 years, or I think it was 3 years older than me. Basically went to a sleepover at his house and things like that. And yeah, after that, I took a big focus on my mental health, because I was like, I cannot live like this.
So
I think I fell into depression then.
how long? I mean, when did you start therapy and like starting to talk about and like starting to deal with the trauma and everything?
Yeah. I mean, I was basically bullied all my life, because I'm different from the personality disorder, and just feeling like an alien in general. Bullied extensively and didn't have any friends. I mean, not that I wanted friends, but just not finding anyone on the wavelength that I wanted to hang out with. Everyone was just mean. Yeah. So, and then I started talking about these things only like, I think it was 2 years ago. Yeah, something like that. So yeah, it was quite late.
Yeah.
But I made a conscious decision to get better at around, I would say 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, because I was addicted to video games all my life. I mean, not all my life. I think for like 10 years. Because my life is a pretty big mess if you look at it like this. Because I changed 3 kindergartens, and then I changed 4 primary schools, and then 3 high schools, and I was in a when you're like a delinquent, like a young adult that's making problems, like a not how do you say this in English? Delinquency. You're not like following the rules
Yeah,
and doing like illegal
like
things,
yeah, I see,
like fighting and stealing.
like
Yeah.
a rebel.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was hanging out with the wrong people because I didn't have other friends. So I would just go to the library and meet some people there who didn't go to school, and I would do some pranks and like fucking around with them like all day. Didn't go to school, and then my mom saw that and she told that to my like social manager, the person that was
So
overseeing me,
what would be
and then
the
they put me in a place for young delinquents, like a correctional facility. For 2 years I was there.
what would be the stupidest thing you did back in time?
Oh no, oh no. There were so many, dude. Like one time I was at the library, and there was a group of like guys. One of them was my friend, quote unquote friend. Like they were not really friends, they were just like
Yeah.
people that didn't care that I was different, and I was just like hanging out with them. And like I was basically doing whatever they were doing. I didn't really question it. I was just happy that they would hang out with me, or I would hang out with them. So we were basically just like going around the parks and just like, I don't know, shooting water pistols, or I don't know what the fuck we were doing. And then we saw like a giant log, and we were howling that log around, like the train tracks, And then we put a giant log on the train tracks, dude. Like I cannot understand what we were thinking. Like it's so stupid,
Yeah, I see.
And like the train could derail, what the fuck? It's so
And
insane, dude.
did you
Holy shit,
see
man.
the train passing on
Yeah,
the
we waited then.
oh
Yeah, we waited until the train passed and then pushed the log. Like, the train has the thing in the front, which is like a bumper. And then it pushed the log aside, and we were like super like adrenaline,
yeah,
fucking ecstatic.
I can imagine.
And then the police came, and like the guys from the railway company came, and we were just running around. Dude, what the hell? Like that's just, and we went with full backpacks, like no, like empty backpacks into the store, and then we came out with full backpacks of candy, dude. What the hell? Like imagine. Holy shit, man. But yeah, so then I stopped hanging out with them because I just saw that, some people got arrested, and like I started to see like the consequences of these actions. I was just a kid, I was like, I don't know,
Did
10 or something,
you go into drugs as
or
well?
even less. Oh no, I just never went into drugs because I knew how bad it was, basically. I think from my mom, like smoking and drinking. I had this in my head that I should never do this. I did try like smoking once, but I nearly like choked to death. So I had asthma as a kid, so I guess it didn't, And then I tried marijuana as well, weed, just smoking weed. But yeah, I didn't do that for long. Yeah, no other drugs really. Yeah.
I'm just
I mean, if you don't count video games as a drug,
yeah.
I did that a lot. Not like chemical drugs.
I'm curious about what games did you play?
Oh, dude! Every
Lots?
day after school, I went to the library. I was there in the library like every day from school to till the library closed. Like I don't know how I even survived. I ate the video games because I didn't eat anything. I just ate in school. Like I ate lunch, and then I went to the library till it closed, and then I went home. And then we played. We played like Counter-Strike at the start, 1.6, with the guys there, and like some older guys as well came. I think they were like Ukrainian or Russian or something. They liked the game a lot. It's what's really popular in Russia, I think.
Yeah.
So they came there with that, and they have like LAN cafes there. They told me, and at the time, and then we played like Maple Story. Some guys played WoW, but those were the degenerates, The WoW players was like you don't want to hang out with them. They're like super degens. So I never touched WoW because the guys that played WoW were like something else. Like they were there 24/7 just playing this game. So I knew then that this game is not good. So we played Combat Arms, Maple Story, what else? Pirates of the Caribbean, the Disney one, super cool game. Then we played a lot of these online games for two people, just like flash games. But yeah,
Another
a lot of random shit.
another topic is what do you think about your country and like
Yeah.
the people in your country?
Ooh, my country is really like, I think we are like a passive nation, not like a like we are not aggressive, not like Japanese level, but something in between. We just like no one says much, we're very calm, very reserved, very peaceful. We are basically in a quiet village here because nothing really happens that much. Um, like there
Hmm.
it's really quiet. It's like a sort of bubble, Yeah. So my country, even the politics, like people say, oh, the politicians are so like corrupt and everything is so bad, and I'm like, dude, are you even like look at Italy? Look at there's like open fascists there. Okay, I might be wrong here, but that's I
No,
just checked something.
yeah, it is. Yeah.
Is it true? I don't know. Yeah. Like I don't know. Like it's so much worse. Like in other countries, and the wars in Ukraine and like Israel and like there's so much worse shit, and people are like, oh yeah, but this politicians writes rude things on Twitter or X or whatever, and I'm just like, bruh, like come on, like he calls some journalists something, like I'll take that over you know anti-Semitism, like what the hell.
And Slovenia is mostly Catholic, right?
Yeah, Catholic and some shit, what it's called, the Serbian and Croatian.
So,
um
do you have a lot of immigrants or not?
no, not really.
Okay.
A lot of tourists, but not very many immigrants. Yeah, it's very like um, yeah,
Hmm.
not a lot of diversity here. You know,
Tourist, like,
I saw like two black people in all my life here.
hmm.
Not even exaggerating.
So,
Yeah.
why tourists are coming? Like, what is to see in Slovenia?
It's a lot of nature because we have like the highest density of forests in any like in the highest density of forest to population of
Hmm.
any country. So people come here to experience the whole country because you can ride from one side to the country to the other in one day, right? So you can experience the whole country, from the mountains to the lakes to the rivers to the caves to everything, right? To the wines, foods, people, attractions, statues, museums, everything. You can experience everything in like a week or like a weekend or something, maybe a week, let's say.
And
So people are very drawn to that because it's basically you don't have to travel for 15 hours. You can travel 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, and you see like a totally different valley or mountain or
and
river,
do you guys talk
canyon,
English?
whatever.
Do you have your
Oh
own
yeah,
yeah, English?
everyone talks English.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay, that's nice.
yeah.
And what do you think about no, how do you imagine the future? Like,
In my country
mm,
or general.
I would say both, but yeah, like in 20 or 30 years.
Hmm. Not much different than now, honestly,
Mm-hmm.
because like I feel like things always like balance out. People think that we are gonna I don't know we're gonna have like I don't know super AI or something, but like if you look back into history, like sure things changed, but we are always the same. So there is always a constant. So we are the constant. Sure, we might have better gadgets. We might have cars, electric cars that are super cool, and I don't know, electric airplanes or some shit. But we are still the same. So not much is like actually gonna change. We just might have more tools. I don't know. Like it's not really change if you think about it. I see change more like a changing of the democratic values or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
would it be better or worst?
No, just like I see change on that level, not so much on a level like sure we might have AI. That's not so much change for me. It's just a different environment.
But so you
It's
think
like,
it's gonna be more democratic or less democratic?
oh no, I meant that's just if that were to change, like let's say we went away from democracy or something else super huge like that, then I would say like, see, that's a big change. But if we get like technological advancement, I don't consider that a lot of a difference, because it's just technology. It's not a different like a value like a systematic change in our brains, like a value difference. Like before, when we were like racist, openly racist, and to now when we're not. Sure, a lot of things happened in between, like, I don't know, revolutions and whatever, wars and whatever, but that, mental change, that's what I consider change. So whatever happens like that, I'm gonna see as change, but I'm not sure if it's gonna happen so much. That's rare, happens slowly as fuck.
Maybe a world war would be a change, don't you think?
A what?
A world war.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, but a war doesn't change us. It's just kind of a trauma, a collective trauma. It doesn't shift our values much. At least I don't think so. I mean, maybe it does. I don't know. Like, I don't know much about these topics, but it's just how I feel. It might not be that accurate to like how things actually are.
Actually, it's interesting to see the World War I and II as a trauma in Europe, like how people have been traumatized by this.
Yeah. It's a generational trauma. It's so terrible.
So Slovenia is democratic. Like how much democracy is there? Like, what does the politics look like?
Oh yeah.
And do you have any political?
Democratic.
Yeah. And do you have any political
opinions? Oh yeah, I didn't really vote. I'm like, I know it. Like, my friends and my family says that being like not politically engaged is really bad, because you have to start with yourself to see change. And yeah, on some level I do agree, but I really don't think it makes a difference, like if I vote or not. I don't feel like I'm doing anything with it. I see a lot more change in just like working with myself, like working with my values, not trying to make like a change in some system, So I don't really value voting that high.
So what do you think could make a better society?
Yeah, if everyone focused on themselves, basically. If everyone started at their own, issues and problems and like hindrances.
How would you do this?
Well, our school systems, for one, is completely. It's not really teaching us anything. It's teaching us. It's like an archaic system from like the industrial revolution, right? It's basically teaching us to be like factory workers, essentially.
So what would you change?
Like, it's not instilling values into our children, into like the next generation. It's not teaching anyone about like effective communication, like exploring your emotions, like the social structures, like gender and like politics and like identity, meditation, stuff like that, like connectedness with nature, sustainability, ecology. Like, sure, you go through it as like a one day, you just talk about like sustainability, but that's not instilling any value into like the generation. It's just like some knowledge. So I think I would change that for sure. Yeah.
What is the education like in Slovenia? Like, do you have I don't know, how would you?
I mean, I'm pretty biased. I'm pretty biased when it comes to it.
Of course.
Because my experience with school was basically changing even kindergartens. Like, I have such a deep trauma around like institutions that are supposed to be there for me, right? But I just felt like an alien in them, so I don't like them. And then like the schooling system, I think it's also just, I mean, it's not even related to my country. It's just in general, the schooling system in general is just so bad. It doesn't teach you anything. Like, sure, I might know some mathematics or biology or physics or I don't know, some random shit, but that doesn't really help me in my life. If schools actually taught like life things, how to file taxes, how to get a job, like what to look for in what to look for in an employer, right? Like how to get prepared for a job interview, how to like have a successful relationship, how to like what are your values, morals, ethics, how to debate, how to like things that actually matter, not just oh you have a perfect score on your English test. Wow, wow, that's so great. Wow, what the hell? That's so fucking useless. Like wow, that's so useless, man. I'm like still dumbfounded that people actually value that shit. Because in my school, when I was in school, I was like, yeah, you can like we had grades from 1 to 5, right? So 1 is the lowest grade and 5 is the highest grade. And I was like, yeah, you can just give me a 1. Like I'm not gonna learn this, And everyone was like, what's wrong with you? Like you're such a rebel. Like why are you doing this? And I was like, why should I care about some grade? Like it doesn't say anything about me. So yeah, I was always like a maverick, like a super rebel. I didn't really care. Like I would rather, like this is the insane part. I would rather fail school and just like actually like, get kicked out of school than to learn that shit. It's that insane, because I didn't value that at all, And I told every teacher that I had like, sorry, but I'm not gonna learn this. So you just give me a passing grade or like, or I'm gonna fail this class. And they were like, okay, I'm just gonna give you a passing grade.
So how did you manage it with your father and your mother?
Oh, I was at my mom's then because my dad was divorced, and he was really not in my life at the time.
And
It was pretty bad.
didn't she bother you?
No, she tried, but I
I
was
see.
just I was not home at all. I was just in the like from school to the library, from the library to like messing around with friends a bit, and then home, and then I would just ignore her, close my room.
Do you regret studying more or like having better grades
That's
or something like this?
yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I don't really regret it because I did what I had to do in a way, Because if I had better grades, like that wouldn't help me at all. I know what I'm capable of. Like I can learn it, but having a better grade, like I even got accepted. Like I wanted to go to London to study psychology, right? And I got accepted to 4 of the 5, or was it 2 of the 3? No, I think it was 4 of the 5 um, universities that I applied to, right? And they were very high end universities, not like the top of the top end, but the just below the top, not like Cambridge or some shit like that. I'm not that good. You need like a perfect score for that. But on the below those. So I applied to all of those and I got accepted to 4 of the 5. And then I was like, I can go to London right now because I had a girlfriend there. She was also Slovenian, but went there to study and was living there, and I could just, move in with her. Like there was no problem. And then I was like, I can go there and basically like make a life in London and study there. But I just didn't see a purpose in it. I don't think I would be happy there because there was also like not COVID. That was it went out of the European Union, like the UK, and it was a lot of just political strife in the country. And I was just like, I don't think I would be happy there. So just having a psychological degree there and working there.
So
I didn't see myself in it.
What was better? Like, so what did you choose over this?
It's such a huge city that's what confused me. Like it's just a machine. Like you're just like a wallet. Everywhere you go, you have to pay. You have to pay to sit down because there's not enough space. So you have to pay 5 quid to not 5, but like 3 to 5 quid just to sit down to eat in some spaces. Like it's just you just feel like a walking wallet. You're not a human anymore. You're just I don't know. It's so weird. It reduces you down to like a weird kind of a matrix. You just don't feel like a human. You're like an animal in a labyrinth or like a matrix or like a system that's designed to like extract money from you. It's really weird. Anyway, sorry, what did you ask?
What did you do instead of going to London?
At the time, I basically decided to wait. When was that? So the COVID came, and that was at the start of COVID that my relationship basically like not fell up. Yeah, basically fell apart, and we broke up on good terms. And then I was just back to video games for a bit, and then I basically made a resolution. Yeah, but I was like coping hardcore.
Mm.
And then I would basically made a resolution to just, pursue things that are actually important. So I gradually stopped with video games and like social media, YouTube, Reddit. Like I stopped viewing porn. I stopped uh, like eating bad food. I just basically put my life in order. And then I started exercising and just going to therapy uh, and just focusing on myself. That was like a catalyst. So it helped me a lot because I really saw that, if I would go to London, there was no answers there. It's just a same thing but different environment. So I would not be fixing anything. So I basically did not change my environment, but wanted to change my like internal environment. So I started working on that.
So you were not really were you in love, or like
Hmm.
was it? So it wasn't so important, this relationship, or was it?
Well, I did love her. Like I would say I cared for her very deeply. But that's also what made me not want to go there because I knew I'm not the right person for her. I mean, in a way, she was not the right person for me as well because, like, I mean, we were just two dumb kids. We didn't really know what the fuck we were doing. Like, yeah, sure, you can just go to London and study, and but what then? Like, I don't know. We were just doing whatever, and I knew that we were not good for each other because I was a bit toxic, with things because she had like a autism, or how do you say it, Asperger's.
Hmm.
Now it's autism, and like I did not feel confident with like being such a strong supportive pillar for her.
Yeah, I see. I
I
see.
value like autonomy, and I value this like 50-50 relationship where I can like rely on someone. And when I saw that I wanted to basically change her, that I'm not so content with being with her as she is, then I saw that you know she is not
Mm.
the right one for me, and I had to let go. And then I basically pushed her into therapy, and I was like, listen, I'm just not the right guy for you. You have to go to therapy, and you have to talk with someone so you can see this. Then she was like, yeah, no, but you're perfect. We're so meant for each other. We're soulmates. That was like tearing me apart, man, because I felt the same way, like emotionally, but logically, I knew that it just, we are just not meant for each other. And then I finally somehow got her into therapy. I mean, no, she decided to go into therapy because my pushing helped a bit and my reasoning and everything. And then when she came out of therapy, she was like, yeah, I see these things. And my therapist also advised me that I should probably break up. And I was like, in a way, I was happy, but I was, this is so weird. In a way, I was happy for her, but I was also like super terribly sad, and depressed. And like,
Mm.
so it's a very weird duality. And then I broke up but I'm still friends with her,
Mm-hmm.
we were friends, but it's like a more of a surface level friendship, not venting or not like being emotional, emotionally invested. We are just kind of, yeah, happy new year or happy birthday or shit like that, just surface level.
So was it your
So yeah.
first? Was it your first relationship, or
Oh
did,
yeah, yeah.
yeah?
First real one, first like serious one, because it was like a 4-year-old relationship, like 4 years it lasted.
Hmm.
So it was very long, and but we were going in just clueless, just kids. Yeah, and we learned a lot. So, but yeah, I think my version of what love means to me is a lot like is very clearly defined. Like it's not the emotions, it's not the oh, I feel so in love. No, like love for me is like a decision. I want to make this life with this person meaningful, and you know,
Yeah, you're
I want to care for them, and yeah, it's like a decision for me.
more like
So
practical.
I'm yeah, very particular. Yeah,
Practical, I mean,
yeah, yeah.
like concrete.
So
Yeah.
I basically applied this reasoning and logic
Mm.
to her to the relationship, and then I let go of her, and then when she also had a friend, I was like, okay, now I can actually like move on because she's in good hands. That's what love means to me, I think. Like knowing what's good for someone and letting them go, not like clinging to them and suffering. Like you make both of your lives worse if you cling, and I'm lucky to have seen that. I'm fortunate.
Yeah,
I think.
that's how you learn it.
Yeah. It's very authentic, but it did hurt a lot. But I always knew logically that I'm making the right decision.
But I wonder if it doesn't make the emotional side less enjoyable, like it's very mechanical and cold, like.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah. I was always like more logical, like more reasonable. I was basically the hyper thinker, the logic like machine before I started working on emotions a lot and opening them back up. I mean, not opening them, but like attuning to my emotional side more, not suppressing it. So yeah, she was like the emotional one, and I was the reasoning one, and we kind of got along together because of that as well. Because I would reason with everything and problem solve.
So what came out of therapy? Like, do you have any labels or tags? Like uh, yeah, Asperger, depression. Do you have any
Yeah.
any family like this?
Yeah. I mean, there is something like that in my family, that's for sure. My sister is a very like she has problems in relationships and in emotional regulation and things like that. So there's definitely a family history of this. But for me specifically, like my therapist or my psychiatrist diagnosed me with like the schizotypal, right? It's a super like rare one. It's basically like a like if your parent has schizophrenia, you're very much more likely to develop schizotypal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like magical thinking, like ideas of reference, some uh, like distorted thinking like this. So I think this helped me in my life to really get my thinking down a lot, because I was thinking a lot of
But
what am I thinking, because
do you have
very early in life I had these distortions. Yeah.
Autism or not?
No, but it's very similar, like the schizotypal. It's
Okay.
basically it's 80% similar to autism. It's basically, you could say it's like autism but without the social drawbacks. So the social anxiety, the like the trouble with like eye contact and social cues, and not being like appropriate in some settings, um, like humor and things like this, irony not like registering properly. Yeah, it's a lot similar. That's also why I got along with her a lot, with my ex, because she had Asperger's or autism, and I was like relating to her a lot before I knew these things. I just knew I was different. Yeah, but no other, like I just have schizotypal and OCD. So yeah, and persistent social anxiety from my personality disorder, but nothing else. I mean, yeah, depression, but not like diagnosed one.
What kind of people do you like the least?
Ooh, the list. Ooh, that's a good question. I have to think a bit for this, because there's a lot of layers to it. Because if I like someone the least, that implies that it's like, the least, not just, yeah. Let me just dig through the layers a bit. Like the absolute worst. Okay. That's a hard one, because if I were to say that I don't like someone, I would be putting like a judgment on them, which would in a way show my ignorance to like the human condition from like a Buddhist perspective. So I can say from a trauma perspective, from like this will make sense in a bit. So I really dislike people who have like a learned helplessness or victim mentality, or anything where they are just not using their potential to the fullest, where they're basically making a conscious choice to not like help themselves. I really dislike that. But it's I don't dislike that because of them, but I dislike that because of myself. So it's like I see myself in that, or like it triggers me because I know how close to that I was in my life, So it's not so much about them, it's just about me. So it's hard to say that I don't like someone else because I see things in them that trigger me, and that's what I don't like. So I really don't like myself, or I don't like some qualities of myself that I see in others. But I don't really dislike anything else, If someone is mad or angry or ruthless or like even a murderer or a rapist, I don't really, well, I do dislike that, of course, like empathy and things like this, but I don't hate that, I don't, well, I do, but not, oh, that's so hard to explain. Like, I don't judge them for it because, well, they should be accountable for these things, but I don't put so much judgment onto it to say like they should be executed, Like, I don't think anyone should be executed.
Of course.
I think they should. No, some people think that some crimes are worthy of punishment, which is death, but I don't think it's like this. I think we are products of our genetics, environment, and conditioning. So, but not to say that they don't have accountability. They have they should be held accountable for everything they do. I'm just saying that fundamentally, like from the root cause, they are not at fault, Not like, but they should be held accountable.
Like,
this is basically Buddhism logic. Some Buddhism logic. It's hard. I'm not saying that they are not morally like justified or.
But what would you do about the multi-recidivist rapist, for example?
Well, well, I do believe that everyone can be like, rehabilitated. It's not, these things are not permanent. It's just that in the situation or the environment that this person is in, this is not the right environment for them. So, that could be society, they are just not fit for society. That's fine, And so they should be somewhere in a forest, like away from everyone, where they cannot hurt anyone. I mean, that's fine, But that's the situation for them, But I think this is also like, I think society is just not for everyone, and we are just humans. Like from an evolutionary standpoint, these things evolved,
Do you have a
for a reason.
favorite animal?
Ooh, favorite animal. Let's see. Yeah, birds are definitely my favorite.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Not like any specific bird, but just I cannot think of any specific bird that I like the most because they're also so good.
Crows are interesting to me.
Oh, yeah. But so many birds have so many interesting things. I think, if I were to choose a bird, it would definitely be some of these city birds because I see them a lot. Like I would legit choose like a pigeon or something, just like a street rat.
If you could have a superpower, what would you have?
What would I choose to have, or what would I want to have?
Isn't it the same?
If I were. No, but if I were, I think not, because if I were to choose something, I would
you can
put
choose.
myself in that.
Yeah, you choose.
Ooh, if I were to choose something, so I would be living with that like all my life.
Yeah.
That's a hard decision. Well, it's but it's basically like if I would pick something that would benefit humanity, or if I would pick something that would benefit me, but then I would use that power as a tool to benefit others. You know what I mean? So that's really the hard question. So I could choose something that like pacifies people around me in like a 20-kilometer radius, let's say, for balance purposes, not just the whole earth. Let's say I could choose that, right? But then I would be giving away just like let's say an immortality power. Imagine how much good I could do with immortality.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard choice.
You can
only. But yeah, but what about the balance? If I could just choose like a super broken one, is that allowed or?
Yeah, of course you can have what you want.
Oof, dude, I would just make myself a god then.
Yeah.
Like just godly power. Just creation.
You would leave your humanity.
No, I could just create anything. Like creation, basically. Just create anything I want. So I could create my body, my mind, so I could never die. I could create the earth, I would just be a god. So that would be a good power.
Yeah, but you won't be human anymore, so you're fine with it?
I mean, I would be a version of a human, probably not the biological one.
Yeah, okay.
I think I would still be human.
What do you think
Just
about
like a different
younger generation?
the women of the new generation.
No, not the women, all of the new generation.
Oh, sorry, I misheard you.
Yeah.
Interesting question, because as we get older, I saw things that we are like genetically programmed to not like the new generation. We get to that certain stage in life when we're like, oh, this new generation is so such and such, and you can see that in history. Everyone does that after reaching a certain age. So I see it in myself. I'm like looking around and seeing all these kids on their phones, and I'm like, damn, dude, or on their tablets, and then thinking like, damn, dude, they're so like, they're gonna be so out of it when they're older, and so like in the matrix. But then I think back, and I was basically 24/7 reading, in the book, and probably people said the same thing for me. Like, he's constantly reading, he's not even looking around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sure, it's more stimulating now, and you don't have to read anything; you can just stare at the phone. But I think it's similar. It's just we will always be the same as humans. Just the environment changes, like is more or less stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really have any things
Yeah.
like this for the younger generation, because I realize we're all the same, but just a different branch on the timeline.
What should you say is your greatest success?
Yeah, that's a good one, because I thought about this a lot, and I'm very grateful in my life that I was able to come to these conclusions at the time that I did, in my life. Because if I was a kid and like I got bullied, and I would think, oh, I'm such a horrible person, or like I'm like just victim mentality, and like being suicidal, and just doing something bad like that, that would be for me just a very unlucky situation, because I did not see the way out. I did not see a way to end to reduce my suffering. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm very grateful for that. That would be my greatest success, I think.
And
To basically being
yeah,
fortunate enough to find an optimal solution to my problem. So that persistence to find a solution. I think
and
that is it.
what would be your worst failure?
Worst. Let me think. Worst failure. Well, if I would say something as my worst failure, then it has to be something that I didn't learn from. So anyway, just the only way I can fail in my logic is if I fail to extract the value and learning from something, like not having the skills to learn from it. So that would be a giant fail for me. But I don't think I did anything like this. Basically, or actually, like a more like a concrete example, a failure would be basically how I handled my first relationship. I think I I got swept up in like the emotions and things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I failed that a lot. Yeah, I failed that completely. But I also learned from it. So it's not a failure. It's more of a failure of how I impacted others, like my ex, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
not a
It,
failure as a whole. Just
yeah.
a fail from how I acted.
So it's almost the end, and there is two last questions. First one is, would you have free books or movies or artists you want to recommend?
My favorite?
What?
Yeah, my favorites?
Yeah, your favorite or anything you want to recommend?
Yeah. Artists? I'm not sure. Like, I'm not that big into art, but I know a lot of books,
Yeah, books.
movies. Yeah,
You
that's a
can
good, because yeah, I remember three movies distinctly. First was My Dinner with Andre. It's like an old movie. It's really interesting. And then the second movie I remember like this is A Night on Earth. A Night on Earth, yeah.
What is the first one?
Oh, My Dinner with Andre.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's an older movie, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like, I don't know, it's just stuck in my mind so much. I don't know why. And then A Night on Earth as well is just stuck in my mind. Every time I think about movies, these movies are just like there, you know.
Mhm.
And then the third one would be Old Boy, the
Mm.
Korean movie, Old Boy. Yeah, that movie is so good. Like I watched it like 3 times. I don't know, just so good. Like I didn't even know it was a Korean classic when I watched it. I was just like, why is this movie so good? Like, there's something in this movie that's so just pulling me in, and it's like the situation, like the everything, that every frame, everything is just so just pulling me in, and I was so interested in what that is, you know, because I watched a lot of movies before, but nothing pulled me in like that. I was like thinking in every frame and every framing of the shot, like what is this, you know, what is happening, why is this like this? I had this question when after watching this movie.
So last question is do you have an advice, a message in a bottle for the future generation?
An advice or
a message in a bottle, you know, like something.
message? Oh, in the bottom. Okay. Yeah. Like a time capsule.
Yeah.
No, I would just say meditate. Nothing else. Just meditate. Trust me. Just meditate.
All right. Thank you,
That's
Jan.
literally it. Thank you.